Coming to you from the heart of downtown Greenville, it's the show about thriving in a local economy. You're listening to Fire at Will with your host, Will Stewart.
Welcome to the show. It's episode 2 of the Fire at Will podcast. And I have a special guest with me today. It's Erick Arbe.
Hey.
He's the owner, or co-founder, I guess, of Hibr, which is a mattress company, and a web development company called Golf Web Design, and a good friend. All wrapped in one, man. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Will.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man. I looked back. I said, okay, let's just see like how long this relationship has been going. It started as a business relationship. You brought my company, 98 Central, in to do video for you guys. And the first time you guys reached out to me was June 2014. So this month, 4 years ago.
Wow.
So it's serendipitous.
That is way
for you to be on this podcast.
I can't believe it's been that long.
It's crazy.
It flew by.
It's felt like 30 years, honestly. It's been really bad. But now we're both of us are at Endeavor, which is a co-working space, and that's actually where we're doing the podcast now. And
we're both fathers.
Yes, yeah, that's a lot of life has happened.
Yeah,
which I think is more difficult than running a business. Both have girls, so there's always that.
Yes.
So it's a lot of fun. But for the 3 people in Greenville that don't know you, tell us a little about yourself. Introduce you as a person, and then just tell a little bit about your companies.
Okay, so Erick Arbe, you got that far. I have 2 companies. Hibr, an online mattress company, bed-in-a-box company focused on the athletic space, specifically CrossFit right now, but all athletics, and a company called Golf Web Design, a web design company specifically for the golf industry. I'm a golf professional. My business partner is a golf professional. That's how we kind of got into that niche. And I myself am a web developer. My business partner is the designer, so that's why we mesh well together. And I love web development. We do web development not just for golf, but for any kind of industry as well. Yeah. So that's definitely my passion right there.
Yeah, that's good. And shout out to Nick Undraco. Who's
hopefully he's watching.
Yeah, watch. Yes. You should be watching Nick.
Yes.
Put down everything you're doing. So you didn't start off being a developer, right?
No.
So tell us a little bit about that path and how you and Nick met, because it's kind of interesting what you guys did before that.
Yes. So we're both actually Class A PGA professionals.
Nice.
I still am. Still pay our yearly dues to the PGA of America.
Nice.
Yes, still have my card with my picture on it. So we both went to college to become PGA professionals. I always had the intention of wanting to play on the PGA Tour next to Tiger Woods. That was my goal. I didn't care about running a golf course or teaching in a club. I just wanted to play professionally. Yeah. So I thought, well, at least I can be a PGA professional and be in golf. And Nick kind of had the same thoughts too. So went down that road after college, moved to California for 2 years. Again, tried to play. Found out I couldn't. Well, not that I couldn't, but it was really, really hard.
I bet your game is way, way better than mine.
Probably. I haven't seen you play golf, but I bet.
I'm terrible. Have you seen Happy Gilmore?
Yes. He was really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's true.
But so in California, I found out that was really tough, so I got a job as a head pro. Yeah. So, okay, this is cool. Did that for 2 years. And then I said, nope, I want to play again. So tried to go play on the Asian tour. Didn't make it on the Asian tour, but we moved over there anyway, me and my girlfriend at the time, my fiance, and I made it on the Korean tour. So I played a full year on the Korean PGA Tour.
Nice.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. Got a lot of great experiences, a lot of travel. And then I came back to the States after not making any money on the Korean tour and found out I needed something to do. So that's when I rekindled my relationship with Nick. Nick and I had been friends in college, and he had done his own thing, tried to do a similar path. And that's when we got together and we said, we need to do something. We need to make some money. So I knew he was great at Photoshop. I was like, well, I kind of been making a little website on the side for myself and for another company that I was starting called Swingloft, which was a video analysis software for Mac for golf swings, for any sport really. Yeah. But really, back then, that was like 2008. And you had your camera. iPhones were not a thing. They just come out. Video wasn't even on the iPhone. Yeah. Remember, it was just pictures.
Yeah.
And so video analysis was a big thing in golf. And there was no application for Mac computers that could analyze your swing. It was only for Windows. So I was like, this needs to be on Mac computers. More golf pros need to use Mac. So I came out with that software, and I had a company in Pakistan build it for me. It was a really tough experience. Sure. I lost some money, made a little bit of money, but it was really hard.
Yeah.
And then that's when Nick and I got together and we said, all right, let's do something. So
And what year was that?
that was 2009
Okay.
that we started Golf Web Design.
Yeah. And then
So-
been just like,
And ever since then, it's gone through numerous changes. We focus on golf pros. Now we focus on golf courses. Now we're doing some more application-based projects and like billing, things like that for private clubs, and getting more complex, which is things that we enjoy a little bit more than just your typical brochure websites. And now, the rest is history. Let's Golf Web
man.
Design.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's great to have someone you can partner with to just, like knock things out together. You
Yes.
don't have to have both sides of the brain. You have a designer, you're the developer.
Exactly.
So what was the reasoning behind Golf Web Design in particular and having that niche?
Yes.
Was that a marketing decision?
Well, it was the one decision is because we were in the golf industry already.
Yeah.
So we knew that industry, and we knew golf pros at the time, they really needed websites. Like 2008, like golf pros needed to get their name out there. They needed to be more professional. People already in other industries had websites, but the golf industry has always typically been like 5 years behind when it comes to technology. And it kind of still is. I hate saying that, but it really kind of is. The industry is just slow to catch up.
It's an old institution.
It is. It is. And, I don't want to say rightfully so, but it needs to catch up. But it is definitely behind the times when it comes to technology. So we saw that and we said, that's an opportunity. So we said, let's, build websites just for the golf industry. Let's bring them up to speed. Let's make them more modern. So that was kind of the natural fit there. And because we already had relationships within the golf industry, us being pros, we knew a lot of golf courses around the country. And we said, let's use our connections that we already have to grow our business.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we started there.
That's cool. And it's a great marketing thing too, because if you can already talk the language of the industry, whatever it is, I mean, there's no need to overthink it. And there's no need to say like, I've left the golf industry, so now I'm leaving it in its entirety, no matter what what I'm doing. But yeah, just to go, hey, I'm a former pro, or I guess you would be still
pro.
Still,
And
I didn't realize you were a pro.
Yeah. We've gotten so much business just from talking to golf pros who say, "Oh, you're a PGA professional. Oh, you get it. I'm going to go with you."
Yeah.
Versus Joe's web shop down the road.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hate to say this, but Joe's web shop could be just as fine, just as good as us. But honestly, we have that experience just in the golf industry, and people like things that they can relate to.
Right.
So
it's true. It's that extra, 2 or 3%.
Right.
A lot of times, I mean, because you face a crowded market. I mean, there is everybody's nephew is a web developer and designer.
Especially now. You're
really,
totally right.
Because there's no barrier to entry, right? Really, I mean, all you need is just the most basic computer to do coding, at least. You probably need a little beefier to do design work. So, yeah, anything you can do to kind of get your foot in that door. How, besides the whole golf niche, what else have you done to help promote yourself and get
in the web industry?
Yeah.
In the web. So we've definitely utilized our networks other than golf to branch out and get other projects. Yeah. So we've worked with a few marketing agencies, mainly in Georgia. That's where we started the company. That's where I was when we started. And through those relationships, we've gotten really neat little projects like for colleges, for Fortune 500 companies, restaurants, just random everyday medium-sized businesses that we've done web projects for. But really for the golf industry, how we've got ourselves out there was really email marketing. That was like our biggest driver of sales.
Yeah. Was that in 2009 or is that something you still do today?
2009 through like 2013.
Open rates were amazing earlier on.
They were. Yeah. You're right. And email's still good if you can build your list and curate it and keep it clean. But yeah, it's tougher now. It's tougher to grow your list because everybody's trying to do that.
Right.
Everybody. So yeah.
And do you think what would if someone was wanting to do an email list today? I mean, let's say you guys were starting again. Would you do the email list? I mean, would you kind of go down that route?
We would. It's not impossible. It just takes longer.
Okay.
In business, timing is everything. Yeah. Everything. And I think business, there's like the things that really, show. I've studied entrepreneurs a lot and read a lot of stuff, and timing, who you know, and luck are kind of three of the really big things.
True.
So, right? And, sometimes you got to have that luck. We had some really good luck because one big company, once we launched, like officially in like 2010, a big company called us up and they said, hey, we've got a lot of golf customers when they need websites. Do you guys want to do it? Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah, right. So that was a big driver of our early success.
That's great.
Was that right there? Was that relationship? And we bolted onto their brand, their established brand, and they got our name out there for us. So that really, really helped. So that was huge. So if somebody was trying to do it today, you got to have a little bit of luck, timing, but it might be slow.
Yeah.
You can still build an email list.
It's a snowball, really, because it doesn't matter if it's the golf industry or some other industry. You just have to do good work.
You do.
And
yes.
If you do good work, they're going to talk to each other, because these owners of the golf courses are going to be like, well, your website looks good. Who did you use? Mm-hmm. And these players are everybody talks, and that's the same thing with our industry. It's a relationship business,
right,
wrapped around,
exactly,
whatever it is you do as a company.
Yes.
And it really matters. So you went from the golf world and are doing golf web design, making money, happy as a lark, you and Nick just knocking it out. And then you decided to do what?
And then we decided to launch a product.
Yeah.
We had always sold a service.
Right.
We'd sold our time, traded our time for money, and sold websites. And we said, it would be so cool to sell something, a product. And we had a relationship in the bedding industry, and with a company that was just manufacturing memory foam pillows with a new technology, a cooling technology. And we said, this could be our opportunity to sell a product.
Yeah.
We're like, we don't really know much about pillows, but we know about sleep. Yeah. We love sleep.
Do it nearly 8 hours a day.
Right, pretty much.
Well, now that I have a daughter, I do it like 5 hours a day.
A little bit less, yeah. But back then, man, sleep was awesome. So, that was our big thing, was selling a product. Nice. And we were like, what can we do? So that was our opportunity. So when we had the opportunity to sell a pillow, we contacted you.
Yeah.
First of all, that was our foray into
such a great decision.
Right? And we did a Kickstarter campaign, and you helped us with that tremendously. That video helped propel us. We had a goal of $23,000, and I think we hit like $45,000 or $46,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. We blew our goal out of the water and launched and shipped our pillow. And we always had the intention of there. We knew that the same company that was manufacturing our pillows manufactures mattresses. And the whole bed-in-the-box thing was just kind of coming onto the scene then. Yeah. And that's we had the intention of launching a mattress. And we said, you know what, let's start with the pillow, then let's move to the mattress and see where it takes us.
Yeah.
And the whole time, knowing that we can use our skills from what we've learned in the web development industry and marketing and design and e-commerce to apply towards a new company and selling our product. So that was kind of our goal.
And that's just a completely different animal. I mean,
it is completely different.
And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You have like shipping issues. You can't just like email or Dropbox, whatever the final product is, like you do,
right,
or just upload to the web server and be like, it's live. Congratulations. You have, probably returns. Everybody's upset for some reason. It doesn't matter if it's valid or not. There's
upset. Always an unhappy customer somewhere.
Right. For the dumbest reason.
Yep.
Right. You have manufacturing issues where you say,
yes,
I need 100 of these now. And they go, great, pay us up front, before you sell them.
Or they're missing one little label and said, it's going to take 2 weeks to get that label in.
Oh, man. So how is it? So there was probably a calibration that had to happen, a recalibration that had to happen between y'all's mindset.
There was. It was a slow learning process.
Right. And just know that everything just like slows down.
Right.
Right?
Yes, 100%. That was something we had to really learn the hard way, is moving from the web and building digital products where, we can build them. We control our destiny, basically. It's a matter of just us getting customers. But we can control when this website is going to launch. It's a matter of how many hours we put into it and, our own efforts that we put into that project.
Sure.
That lets us launch it tomorrow or next week, or say, we're not going to launch this for another 3 weeks, something like that. But when you're shipping a product and you're relying on other people, a whole supply chain, that's something that we knew going into it, of course, but we didn't know all the little intricacies of what would happen and what would cause stress and things like that. Definitely, you're relying on a manufacturer, number one. So you got to make sure that they're producing whatever it is that you're, producing on time, on schedule. How many? What's your inventory look like?
And to spec, right?
And to spec, exactly, because some of our pillows may have gone out without the blue gel coating. or with a wrong cover, or without a cover, or something like that, or in the wrong box, or without our insert. And that's another thing right there. Just all the little pieces of whatever the product is you're putting together. Like for us, just think of a simple pillow that we're shipping. You've got the box coming from one manufacturer. You've got the actual pillow. Then you've got the cover, which comes from another manufacturer. Yeah. That cover has a zipper and a tag on it. 2 separate manufacturers there. That all needs to be assembled somewhere. And then you've got our product insert, our guide that we come up with. That comes from another, manufacturer, a printer that needs to print that up. And then, stickers on the box, the label on the box, all that has to come together nicely. When you think of it, it should be a pretty simple product, but there's a lot of little pieces that go into it. So you've got all these little moving parts. And then if one thing gets held up, the whole process gets botched. Yeah. So that's where, we learned quickly that, hey, we really need to make sure that everything stays smooth. How do we get things staying smooth? So that was a real learning process for us. Yeah.
So what were the things that you did to eliminate and alleviate that, that blockage in the supply chain? Like, how did you go simple? Did you, like, initially were your thoughts maybe naively, you were like, oh, we should do this, and then you realize that, oh, that requires 20 manufacturers and we can't do that. Let's reduce the manufacturers. And like, what are some of the steps that you guys went to kind of get it to where it was streamlined?
Yes, we did actually reduce a couple things in the putting together of the pillow. We did initially have these nice little stickers that identified, 3 different types of pillows. So we had nice little stickers that identified exactly which pillow it was. Yeah. We stopped that because that just got messed up at the factory. They were putting the wrong stickers on them, or we're not putting them on at all. So things like that, we reduced little things, definitely did streamline it, but communication, that was our biggest thing, was communication, saying, giving ourselves plenty of time for each manufacturer to get their piece done, to make sure it was all came together at the end. That was the biggest thing, communication, because if, you don't follow up with an email or a phone call to the one manufacturer and they're 2 or 3 days late, but you weren't expecting that and they just didn't say, then that's going to mess everything up. So we still do. We have to make sure we're on top of every little piece of the process that we're working on, is that we stay on them. Right. We don't, we work with good people, and we hopefully rely on them. But sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands and say, all right, when's this going to be in? When is this ready? Okay.
Yeah, and then once they tell you, I guess, call them then a couple days later.
Yes, you still, follow up and say, are we good? Are we good? You sure?
That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So trust but verify.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool. So I probably have a pillow and I have a mattress. My wife was pregnant at the time when I got the pillow, and she stole it from me.
Perfect.
And
we hear a lot of those stories.
Yeah. So I was like, and I can't be mad because she's pregnant, so it's just like, well,
can't really steal it back.
I'm at fault for what your condition, and so here, have the pillow. It's the least I can do, right? And then. Then I had to get my own, but it's a really good pillow. It really is, and
I appreciate it.
It's a good mattress, and
we've got it. That's one of the very rewarding things about selling a product is that you get lots of great feedback, and you hear how it's changed people's lives. It's changed their sleeping habits. They're sleeping so much better, so much sounder now. That's really one of the very rewarding things of selling a product. With a website, I guess like one of the big things you could say, hey, people made more money because they have a nicer website, or they've gotten compliments, that's always great too. But with a physical product, when you can actually change the way somebody's living or doing something, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
if you could go and just choose one versus product versus service. Or do you just like them both? It just kind of scratches both.
I really like them both, but you know what? There's one thing we haven't gotten into, which is a digital product.
Yeah.
And in the sense of digital, of software, of shipping like an actual like software as a service kind of thing. So that's one thing yet to explore. Who knows? Maybe we'll get into that. Maybe not.
Oh man.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the web aspect of it. But the physical product, there is something cool about that, and it's tangible, and it's something that is. You can build around, and you can build more products too, based around, we can get into sleepwear, we can get into other things around sleep tracking.
It's hard to get, I don't know. I struggled with my company of what I could give my clients as a kind of a memento of like, hey, this is our brand and that sort of thing, because you either have to really invest in your brand to where people want to wear a T-shirt or a hat or something like that.
I'd wear a 98C
Would you?
T-shirt.
Oh man, I should make one. Yeah. But I do more than one probably. I just feel like, hey, Eric,
one for me.
It's Tuesday. I need my shirt back. I want to wear it. But when you're selling a product, it seems like it lends itself more to being able to get more physical things.
Yeah. Think about Nike. Well, that's already a clothing brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah. When you have a physical thing, it is easier to build around something like that people can like invest in and get behind. Yeah. I mean, we have given out T-shirts and people wear them, but we make our logo really small. We do some kind of funny saying like, I woke up like this or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So one thing that I noticed whenever I bought my first Hibr pillow was the packaging was great. It really was. And I'm not just saying that. I just loved the whole experience of unpackaging it. How did you guys come to all that packaging? And I'm sure it was like, hours of
research, seeing what other companies done. Nick did a lot of the research on Google. Their Nest product was big at the time, still is pretty big, but just how it's kind of expected now for your product, whatever you ship from Kickstarter, from anything. I guess maybe not so much from Amazon because they're a little lower cost, but for most things that you order from any website that's kind of unique, you expect it to be almost like Apple. I mean, they really kind of elevated the game of packaging. When their first iPod came out, I remember my brother-in-law saying, "Oh man, relish the packaging." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's a cool iPod. I can't wait to get it." But he's like, "Yeah, the way they like packaged it is so cool." And I remember that's the first time thinking like, "Okay, that's neat, whatever." But now it's expected. They do such a good job, and I think that's kind of permeated through all industries of like consumer products like that you get, especially in the mail or maybe a high price thing. And we're a little bit higher price. I mean, $100 for pillows, decent price. So you kind of expect that experience.
Right.
So that was one of the things we just said, well, if we're going to price ourselves at that price point, we should have a good experience for the consumer when it comes to packaging.
What makes a good experience? I'm sure that's a really open-ended question. It probably depends on the product, right?
Yeah.
But in general, what are some things that people could do if they're packaging their product, just kind of like sharpen it up a little bit, maybe?
I think it's the little things. It's all the little. And my business partner Nick, he's always saying it's all the culmination of all the little things that go into it. Yeah. And it really is. It's definitely like all the little pieces. Maybe you give them a little sticker, or really design the actual artwork in your pamphlet or your brochure really nicely, and offer them we'll offer them X amount % off of the mattress when you order a pillow, but you got to look in the back of the pamphlet to find that. So little Easter eggs, things like that. But
I thought that was really smart. I don't know. I thought it was somewhere else. Like
when you had it, we've changed the box since then. It was printed on the bottom of the box. So when you take out the pillow, there was a little thing that says, "Oh, here's a nice little surprise." Yeah. And it said, "Go to this special URL on our website and get a free T-shirt." Yeah. So little things like that. Who doesn't want a free T-shirt? So
I did it.
Yeah, right. And that's little things like that I think really make it didn't even have to look great, I think, but if you offer something like that, a little element of surprise is always nice. People love that.
Yeah. I think that's the key is surprise. It's just being able to give a little extra, because I've already invested money into the company. I'm getting a product back. It feels like the transaction's over. Right? I'm getting the product. Okay, great. I'm going to unfold it and put it on my bed and go sleep tonight. But having that little extra like, hey, we thought about you. Here's something else.
Yes.
It really sweetens it. It makes it better. It's the reason why, like, anytime I go to client meetings, I try to bring something. So I try to bring like donuts. I go to Donut Experience and Experiment. The donut.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude, it's on Augusta Road. They put bacon on donuts, and it is amazing. So.
Hipster donuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. They also do other things. They put like Lucky Charms or something. They put cereal on it.
Hipster donuts.
Mark, the editor and producer, right over there. He loves the Oreo donut.
Wow.
So
okay.
Just having something where you can just be like, hey, this is just a little extra something.
My wife loves the deal. She loves discounts, and that almost always influences her buying decision. So I know that's kind of on the tail end, offering that little surprise. Yeah. But once they make that, I think that's going to keep them from returning it, or psychologically, it's going to make them feel much better about their product, about their decision to buy your product.
Sure.
Yeah.
So probably a lot of people that are listening to this less in the product world and more in the service world.
Yes.
So let's talk about websites a little bit and the value of websites. My background, when I was in high school, I started a web design, developed company. So I grew up in that world, sold that company, and so like back then, like in the 90s.
When was that? Was in the 90s?
Yeah.
Wow.
I started in
You were
99.
OG.
Yeah.
Man.
On a dial-up computer, dude.
Yeah, I remember
I had
the
a
noise.
14.4 dial-up
Wow.
computer. It was so slow.
Wow.
In Clinton, Louisiana, and like there was hardly internet. We were just lucky to have it.
You were ahead of your time.
It was crazy. It was nuts, but it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had Macromedia Fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
which, like before the Adobe, I think
Fireworks, yeah.
and I had whatever Dreamweaver was that
Yeah.
what it is?
Dreamweaver's still around, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's part of the cloud suite. I don't use it, but
Okay.
it's still around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's how I learned. I bought a book on HTML4, an 800-page book by Molly Hochschlag or Herschlag, something.
You remember
Yeah.
that?
I don't
That's
know.
amazing.
Yeah. And then just like taught myself how to code.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you were doing all tables.
yeah. Oh yeah. And it was just like really like CSS1 was out or CSS2.
CSS wasn't even like,
or maybe, yeah, it may
barely.
not even. Like,
Well, it was, but it was barely a thing.
okay. So, and I remember like, all this bloated code I put in it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, with
Of course, all the inline styles.
Yeah, hover over and all that sort of
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
We're nerding out right now. I do apologize, but just we'll be back in just 1 second. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun learning kind of like people's behaviors and that sort of thing. But the biggest struggle that I had was someone taking a high schooler, serious, but B, understanding that the internet was here to stay and that it was an important part of a business. And even today, I think people struggle with that, right? I mean, I think it's probably getting more mainstream, but like downtown Main Street in Greenville, I was passing some places like $34 a square foot for this, 2,000-3,000 square foot space plus triple net.
Yeah.
They're spending a lot of money to be on Main Street.
Rent is high.
Yeah, and then it's utilities, you got to pay people to be there.
Yep.
And so they're throwing down thousands upon thousands of dollars a month to support their business, but how's the website look? And they don't want to spend $10,000, whatever it costs.
That. Yeah. We saw that huge in the golf industry. We were like, you're one of the top private courses or one of the top public courses in the country, and your website is terrible,
and
or
you don't lots of money.
Yeah,
you're losing for it,
right? And so that was we still see that, and it's funny, and we just kind of laugh at it now. We've gotten to the point where we're so jaded by that. Where it is, you just shake your head at some people, at their reputation. I mean, hinges on everything online. And while they may have a great Facebook presence, if their website is crap, they're still going to lose some customers, or at least their brand is going to be a little devalued at that point.
Yeah,
and that's something that I hate seeing that.
Is that still a discussion you have to have with people today?
Not really.
Okay,
because we've gotten to the point where our business where we want to work with people that get it.
Yeah,
and and that was one of the things that Gary Vee told us when we interviewed him on a podcast that Nick and I started in 2014, where we were struggling to show, especially golf courses, the value. I guess I shouldn't say struggling to show them, but some of them just didn't get it. Yeah. And we were like, you need a website. You need a good website. It needs to be, the user experience needs to be fantastic to make people, when they're searching your golf course and finding you out for the first time, to have that best impression possible. And they weren't just seeing that. And Gary Vee was like, don't work with those people. Work with the people that get it.
Yeah.
He's like, if they, give you that response, then say, forget it. I'm going to move on and find the next client that does get it and does want a good website.
It's true.
Oh,
it's absolutely true.
Yeah. And then there's, the internet's so big and there's so many businesses out there now that it's gotten to that point where, at some point you do have to just move on and work with the people that get it.
Sure.
And that's one thing I thought you were going to say is when you're working and, getting people to trust you when you're a 14-year-old kid was one of the things that and I shouldn't say still come across, but we have definitely in the past, is coming across the, trust us as a company versus, well, I got my neighbor's son who can build my website. I think I might just use him. He's like just a couple $100. I'm like, you sure you want to do that? So we've come across that a lot. And I'm sure that's probably prevalent in other industries that have a low barrier of entry. Yeah. You probably, plumbing, you couldn't get your neighbor's son to fix something. You might need a real plumber to do that. Yeah. But in certain industries like web development, like you said, the barrier to entry is so low. Yeah. Anybody can say, I'm a web designer. You know, are you really?
Yeah.
You built a site on Wix, but.
And what should people look for when they're ready to either create a new website or upgrade what they have right now? Like, what are the things that kind of like that checklist that they should have?
Well, I guess one of the big things is references and a strong portfolio. So if the company you're going to work with has a portfolio and has references that you can actually follow up on, and that's something that is kind of surprising to me. People don't actually follow up with references. The couple times I've gotten follow-up references, either from people checking into us or like me being a reference for someone else, it is amazing about how open people are to sharing their experiences with a company or an individual. Yeah. So I really think they're strong. I don't think they're used nearly as good enough or as well enough as they can be.
Right.
So,
yeah, and it's important. I think. I mean, I've heard so many horror stories with developers. You probably had too.
So many.
You know, you spend lots of money and they disappear, and
we've been the company that comes up behind another, bad experience. Yeah. And we've had to fight that. We've actually, honestly, through our whole professional career, we've had to fight that. Is somebody's had a bad experience, so they know somebody who has had a bad experience with a web designer or developer, somebody that's left them high and dry. I had one client come out and make sure I didn't come up in a taxi. He wanted to making sure that I drove in my own car to the meeting because his last designer drove up in a taxi and asked for a check right there. And then, that's how kind of broke the guy was. And so he came out and checked on me like that. Yeah, so we've always had to fight that. Yeah. And it is funny when people, will quote something out and say, no, I'm going to go with this guy. And then they eventually come back to us and say, I should have came to you and I should have listened to you the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like money shouldn't necessarily be the motivator for, right. I mean, obviously you don't want to bankrupt yourself, trying to get a website together, right. But you got to, you get what you pay for in some respects, right. Especially if you're hiring professionals.
Right. The quality of work is the biggest thing. It's making sure it's going to work and that it's going to last. Yeah. And that's something that, especially with the web, I think 4 or 5 years ago, definitely things have changed so much and so fast recently that things can break. Older versions of WordPress, they can break real easily. Older versions of Joomla, stuff like that. Now it's getting a lot more stable and people are realizing that. But that is definitely something that when you look to a web designer or developer, make sure they can build something that will last you 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, sure.
Without needing serious upgrades.
Right.
Or it won't be vulnerable to attacks, things like that.
Yeah. So what are some boxes that a website needs to check? Some of the, if someone was popping up their own website, right now and just kind of say, I have a website. I don't need a new one. Or I don't need to upgrade, but maybe they're missing some things, some things that needs to be in place.
One of the things, especially that we've noticed with Hibr, is just how much mobile traffic we get. Yeah. You should, our analytics for how many purchases for a mattress are made on somebody's phone are crazy.
Which is hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars, making a big, $1,000 purchase from their phone. Yeah. And that is something that, it's a mattress. They did not feel it or anything beforehand, but maybe walking to their car in a parking lot and deciding to buy a new mattress on their phone. So where I'm going with that is basically mobile. Check off, does your website look great, function great? Is the user experience good on a phone? Yeah. On all different kinds of phones, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. And for us at least, mobile is probably... it's a significant part of our
huge
viewing viewers. I'm trying to think. We're probably 60 or 70% either mobile phone or some kind of like a tablet hybrid thing.
Yep. When I go to my friend's house and everybody's hanging around, staring at their phones, that's what they're looking at. But a lot of my friends, they're not super tech savvy and they don't have computers at the house. Yeah. So how do they access the internet? Through their phone. They get everything they need to know through their phone. And so if there is a website they need to check out or a company or something like that, it's always through mobile. So that's huge right now. And it will be. I don't see that changing at all.
And doesn't Google have some kind of penalty for if you don't have a mobile?
A few years ago, they came out with that where they'll penalize you if you don't have a mobile friendly version. So hopefully that's not a thing anymore, that people don't have mobile-friendly versions of their website. They don't have a responsive website. Hopefully that's not a thing.
Hopefully.
But that should be standard. Your website should be formatted for mobile.
So mobile's one. Anything else we should look at?
The user experience. I mean, honestly, don't put too many sliders on your website. I hate that. But just the overall user experience and making sure that it is somewhat modern and not old looking, but really making sure the user can get exactly what they need to get quickly with minimum clicks.
And content's king. I mean,
Content's king.
It's I mean, high quality photographs.
Yes.
Video. Should have video.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Come on, people. Yeah, and having, I mean, I think text too, like how much content you have as far as like some people put paragraphs of paragraphs. It's like, we found it in 1943, you know.
Well, what's huge now is you see the TLDR, too long, didn't read this.
Yeah, right.
You know, almost every tech blog I see or article on Medium that I see, you'll see at the beginning, TLDR, or on Reddit, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
If somebody's writing a really long form paragraph, blog post, whatever, they'll put a short summary at the top. Because they know people may be reading on their phone. They only have a few minutes. So they're like, all right, what's the gist of this article? Can I get it real quick? Okay, done.
I need to read enough so I can write an angry comment below.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yes.
Oh, goodness. And so, you know, social's really big. It's getting bigger and bigger every day. You know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn social? I mean, it wants to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Business social? I don't know.
So sad. But does a website still have a place? And how do those pieces kind of work together, the social side as well as having the website?
I think we always used to say and tell our clients that it's kind of like the hub. You know, that's something you can control. You can control what's on your website. With social, you can control it to a certain point. You know, you can put out your good posts and good articles and good pictures and good videos, but that's what makes it social, is the commenting and the interaction with other people.
Sure.
You can't control what other people do or say about you, things like that. You can try to control that narrative, but the only place you really have 100% control is your website. So if that can be the hub that everything originates from, and that's where you want to direct people to get your message, that's the place. That's why it's still relevant and still necessary. Yeah. And especially if it is an application type website instead of a brochure type website where, you know, you have e-commerce, you know, you're selling something on your website. You need that. Even though now on all the platforms, you almost can buy
crazy,
things. Instagram, I think, is about to release
they
shopping.
have.
They have?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's nuts.
So, yeah, they're trying to take over that too. But I don't know what that's going to look like down the road. Maybe good, maybe bad. Maybe you still want to direct people to your website so you can get them to pay with your credit card processor, and you know, you can keep it secure as you want without having to go through a third party.
And you know, someone brought up a point one time, which was kind of interesting. This was someone that was, I mean, they're not a fear monger at all, but they said, you know, you don't own Instagram, you don't own Facebook or Twitter. They can change the rules any day.
Exactly.
You know, and they can just come out with hey, we've decided that, you know, every account is paid now. You have to pay for it. And so all the work that you've put into, and, you know, depending on Instagram, I mean, we think of it as too big to fail.
Right.
But there's so many things that have shown up and disappeared in our short lifetime, you know, and that we were like, oh, this is great. It's like, where'd it go?
Foursquare.
Yeah, right. Vine.
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 Well, and it goes back to the whole thing of like, you know, these things are free. So why are you getting mad when they say we want to do this with your data?
Right.
You gave it to them.
Right.
And I know that conversation's old,
right.
And but you know, that's so true.
Yeah.
That Twitter is free, Instagram is free, and they can do what they want. You know, you're the one, you know, using it. So yeah, but you're right. The whole too big to fail thing. They're like, oh, well, it's got to be safe because it's big. It's Facebook.
Right.
Well, Facebook can still do what they want.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. And they can do it at any time. And that's the thing that we, you know, when I was in that whole like web, and like we were just trying to catch up with the rules of Facebook, and they would just change things so often.
Yes, they still do.
Yeah.
I just went through 4 pages of terms and conditions just to open up the app.
Dang. Yeah, and they just had that whole like debacle that happened with, you know, sharing data. So they had like something that popped up like, hey, we're sharing your data. Is that cool? I was like, no, that's not cool. They're like, okay.
Now the whole political ads thing, they have to be disclosed.
Really?
Yeah. If you run a political ad, you have to say who paid for it. That's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a lot that changes. And that doesn't mean like, you know, people should shy away from social. But I think like you said, web is a great, like your website is a great place for people to land.
Yes.
For them to get that essential information that they need to have,
Right.
especially if you're, like obviously, like you said, if you're not a commerce site, if maybe it's just a few pages,
Right.
but
Right.
just having that consistent place that all your social can kind of point to,
Yes.
and almost have your sales funnel.
Right. That's another thing that I don't see enough of is people actually have a plan or an idea of what their sales funnel, or even if they don't need to have like sales in mind, like selling a thing, but still have some kind of funnel of what you want the person to do when they go to your website.
Yeah.
And do you just want them to read this article and move on? Cool. Do you want them to read that article and then give them your email address so then you can sell them something later on? Things like that. People don't give that enough thought.
I found like with me, like with my companies that I've built the websites, a lot of times I would just be neck deep in it, working on it, thinking like this is the greatest thing ever. I'm such a genius. You go to bed, you get up in the morning, and you're like, oh, wow,
Yep.
this is terrible. Right? Sure, I'm not the only one. What are things people should do to kind of like make sure their website is actually doing what they want to do? Obviously, hire you guys. That's step one.
Sure.
But like getting that feedback and just like figuring out that whole
Yeah. Well, you said it right there, feedback metrics,
Yeah.
using some kind of analytics to ensure that whatever it is your sales funnel is actually happening.
Yeah.
If you see zero movement in your analytics, something's wrong. You're not getting enough traffic or people doing the wrong things, clicking the wrong places. So analytics and tracking is one of the biggest things. Actually, it was really cool. I know it's been around for a while. Web developers will be like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. Hotjar. Hotjar.com. Have you ever seen this? You can see a video of what the user is doing, whatever user on your website is doing on your website.
Dang.
Right. It records their screen and their mouse, so you can see when they click on their whole process.
Wow.
And it shows you an actual MP4 video of it.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's a little scary. A lot of regular, average Joe consumers don't know about it.
Yeah.
But people that have used it, it's awesome. I know there's other services out there that do pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of putting you on the spot, but what resources are out there for like SEO, that sort of thing? So if someone's wanting to kind of like just get a baseline, try to figure out what their website is doing and figure out how it's just ranking. Are there any kind of go-tos for you guys?
Not really, because you have to kind of use like bits and pieces from a whole bunch of different things. There are like SEO analyzers that'll say, oh, just put your URL in and we'll analyze your whole thing. Right. Those can be good, and there's a bunch of those out there, and they'll give you like, link backs and all this stuff, but nobody has like the whole picture, like a complete, like you have this many link backs. You can't really trust any one source for that. So you really have to kind of put the whole picture together. Yeah. And it takes a human to do that. There still is no AI program or machine that will do that perfectly for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I don't think it'll be like that for a long time.
I used SEO Moz for a while.
Yeah, that's a really good resource.
It is, but it's so expensive. It's like
right.
$200-$300 a month.
Yes, but even there, you still that's like very complete. But there's still other things that you need to look at to see if your sales could be like through the roof, fantastic, but your SEO might be crap.
Right.
But maybe because you focus on one niche and one website linked to you, and they send you all kinds of traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of variances there.
Yeah.
And Google's always going to keep changing their algorithm.
They do it all the time,
which is good.
Yeah,
keeps us in business.
Yeah,
you don't want anybody figuring it out.
It's not for me. Yeah. And I think A/B testing is really important.
That's
just
fantastic.
Because I read an article a long time ago about someone who said they put their call to action at the very top of the page because they thought that's the thing that someone wants most, but they realized that they did an A/B test and they put the call to action at the bottom of the page and allowed them to kind of go through the content.
Yes.
And once they got to the bottom, they were ready to
click that button.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Yeah, A/B testing is huge. We haven't done that a ton, but on the times we have done it, we did that for Hibr early on, especially. Like testing video on the homepage versus just a static image and seeing which one got more clicks through. Surprisingly, video won. Well, not surprisingly, but video did win.
I'm saying.
Yeah, video is fantastic.
It really is. People are just like being gravitated more to video.
Absolutely.
So switching gears really quick before we wrap up, the Hibr, you guys have been just working on marketing that and getting that got in the place that needs to be. You told me something probably a year ago, maybe less, about wanting to focus more on CrossFit athletes and that sort of thing. Talk to me about the kind of reasoning behind that and how that's going for you.
Yeah. So, anytime your market is everyone, I mean, everyone sleeps every night. They need a bed, right? That was kind of our initial thought was, well, everyone needs a bed.
It's over 6 billion people.
Yeah, right? We've got a huge market. This is great. Whereas a website, not everyone needs a website, and especially in the golf industry, like, it's just here. But, with Hibr, we were like, wow, we're out here. We can have everybody as our customer. Yeah. Well, you soon realize that you're not going to speak to everybody. You're not going to deliver the same message you would for a 24-year-old recent high school or college graduate as you are a 45-year-old homeowner buying their beach house.
It's true.
So once we realized that, we were like, you know what, we probably should focus on some type of niche. I've loved CrossFit for a long time. I finally got Nick into CrossFit.
Nice.
And I said, hey, we've got some really good connections with this industry. And I shouldn't say just CrossFit, but more athletics as well. Because, we're still both PGA professionals. We have a lot of contacts in the golf industry. Some PGA Tour professionals actually sleep on our mattress.
Nice.
We've got some professional baseball players, NFL, and CrossFit. I'm trying to think of any other sports. But yeah, awesome. So we're like, all right, let's narrow it down like we did with golf web design. Yeah. Instead of focusing on anybody that needs a website, let's focus on just this one niche. So we said, let's go after CrossFit. And we've got Rich Froning, 4-time CrossFit Games champ, on board with us as kind of our brand ambassador. And we said, let's try to make a splash just in that niche. It's already big enough. And that was one thing we struggled with. And I think a lot of people can struggle with, like, they're like, well, if I, focus on a niche, then how am I going to make money?
Right.
And there is still money there. It's like, you have to just get it out of your head that there's not going to be, that there still is money in a niche. Yeah. Because when we made that switch, it was weird for us to really, think small.
Right.
The owner of ConvertKit, you know that guy?
Yes.
He started his company focusing so specific. It was like mom bloggers that only wrote about certain types of foods.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was like, because he did the same thing. He started focusing on everybody, wasn't getting any sales. Yeah. He said, all right, let me contact, I know there's only 100 blogs that focus on this. Yeah. Let me contact each one of these people, get them using my product. I know my product's good. And then see if word can spread from out there. He's up to I think $1 million a month in revenue.
Wow.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's what
I believe it.
Yeah, and it's a good product too. Yeah. We know we have a good product, and when people sleep on it, they love it and they tell other people about it. So we were like, let's do that same thing. Let's focus on this one small niche and then branch out from there. And so CrossFit community is really great. I mean, everybody, it's very like a community type thing.
It's a family.
It is. It's family. And that's CrossFit. They make it one of their points to be like when you drop in at any place to tell everybody your name. And every class you go to, it almost is like go around and say your name, meet people. And so we knew that word would spread within that community if we, dove in.
Yeah.
So
how's the response been so far?
It's been really good. Yeah. It's been really good. We've got a lot of athletes now sleeping on it. Probably more professional ones than I know that are at the CrossFit Games. Regionals just ended, and we've had a really, really strong response from it.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, niching is so important. It's so important to just find it and do it till it hurts, really. Because I think what happens is your pool of people gets smaller, but it was already small. That's the thing. We always think the whole world sleeps, so the world's going to buy our mattress. Right. But yes, the world sleeps, but the world's not going to buy Hibr, unfortunately.
Right.
It's still a small number. It's just you don't know what that a relatively small number.
Right.
And you don't know what that number is. I think when we reduce our focus to just a small group of sector of people, we start feeling, that mental note of we're only limiting our market to a small number of people, but we were already doing that anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
And what I think niching does is allows us to be efficient.
Yes, way more efficient
with our time. Yes. And we're not.
And your advertising and our message.
Right, and so your return on your investment of time and dollars and into ads completely changes. And the return is huge. So that's an important thing for a lot of people. We talk to our clients. We have this whole onboarding process with video before we start. And one of our questions is, who's your target audience? Who are the people that you want to market to? And, we've had clients that go, it's everybody. It's like, well, no, it's not.
Same thing for us. That's a hard question for clients to answer.
Yeah.
But that makes them think, wow, I really should have a target audience.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we did not think of initially, or we did. We were like, yeah, just everybody,
Right.
because everybody sleeps.
Right.
But no, that is not how it should be.
Yeah.
Because you can't speak to everybody.
Yeah.
And same thing with your clients, right?
And it also then creates a differentiator between you
Yes.
and your
Exactly.
competition, because now, I mean, it's gotten popular to have a mattress company. Like it's the
man.
new like barista.
Oh, you're right, man. As soon as we launched the pillow, it seems like everybody and their brother decided to launch it on
true.
Bed in a Box company.
It really is.
It's crazy.
It was funny how that happened just all of a sudden.
It's all of a sudden, and people got into it, and we've already seen people get out of it.
Yeah.
Had to shut down because they were like, what was I thinking?
Right. And then now, like Serta is feeling the pressure, and some of these major guys, they're starting to add like cooling technology and, all the stuff. People are trying to, keep up with the with the innovators.
Yep. All the little guys have come in and disrupted it.
Yeah. So if you can own a segment of the market, just like you don't have to own the mattress world. Right.
Yes.
But if you own the CrossFit mattress world,
right,
you're going to make a good living,
right.
And I think that's what people don't realize is that, if you can say, yeah, you guys, you can have the rest, you can have the other segments. We're just going to own all the CrossFitters.
Exactly.
Then you're more than set.
Exactly. It's just like, saying no to the people that don't get it with web design. If you say yes to those people, that's still a niche. The people that do get it, you're still focusing on those people. Yeah, sure, you're missing out on business. You're missing out on those sales from all those other people in the world. Yeah. But you're now going to sell because you're focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having a clear target audience makes all the decisions for you when it comes to advertising.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, should I spend here or should I spend here? Well, where's my people?
Exactly.
Should I say this or should I say this? Well, what would they respond to?
Exactly.
And having that clear. And that's something I tell my clients is write it down. So you just have it kind of like just like written down. This is what they look like, and even describe them.
Yeah. Yeah. What they do, who they are.
Right.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did some stuff for a clothing company, and they had like their kind of like their lookbook / like spring or fall, whatever was coming up next, kind of like booklet. And they spent a lot of time. They had like 20, 30 pages into this thing of just like the looks and describing what it was and how it was. And this was all an internal document, but they had 2 pages. They had one page dedicated to who their male customer is, and they had a page dedicated to who their female customer was. They named them. They said like they had animals, like these are the kind of animals they have. This is where they live. Like they just like
that's perfect.
Yeah, they like really just like dove in, and so you felt like okay, I know that person.
That's awesome.
If you want to do that, do that. But
hey.
that's a little. I've never done that.
But hey, that shows they know who their customer is.
Yeah.
What they can relate to and how to market to them.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. So, man, I really appreciate your time and coming on this. This has been just fun chatting with you. So, going toward the end as we wrap it up. What are some resources that you'd recommend, like a blog, a podcast?
There's a lot of, I've been listening to a lot of really interesting different podcasts. Ben Bergeron, he is the coach for Katrin Davidsdottir. She is the reigning CrossFit Girls women's champ.
Yeah.
He's her coach up in New England.
Nice.
He has a podcast, Ben Bergeron. I forget what the podcast is called. Oh, Chasing Excellence, I believe. He wrote a book. I haven't read the book, but the podcast is really good.
Awesome.
So that's very good. And actually, one of the things he talked about in one of his podcast episodes that's really stuck with me lately, and Tim Ferriss, by the way, another good podcast. Everybody, it's getting kind of, I don't know. I go in and out now. I used to be like diehard. Now this is great. I'm listening to every episode. But now I'm like,
all those gurus. Like if you listen to them for like a year, you're like, oh man, I feel like I'm listening to the same podcast.
Exactly. If you're finding them for the first time, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, he's great.
But he talked about the 5-minute journal. You heard of this?
Yes.
It's a resource. You just write. It's like 4 questions a day. You write, and it's based around gratitude, what you're thankful for. And Ben Bergeron had an episode in one of his podcasts where he talked about gratitude, and that's how you live a content, happy life, is being thankful for everything we have. Like of course we all want it to be better, but when you take a look and realize everything you have, like that's when you start to be like, wow, okay, I do have a lot.
Yeah.
I should be thankful.
That's true.
And one of the things that he says, a lot of people at his gym that they make them say, I should say make them, but it's people always correct them. They built this community at this gym around this, is that, say, oh, I got to go pick up my kid today. No, you get to go pick up your kid. You have that luxury of going and picking up your kid.
Yeah.
So don't be, don't be ungrateful for things, just little things like that.
Yeah.
So gratitude, I think that is huge.
It really is. Yeah.
Resource right there.
And another resource that you're very humble. You didn't mention the Strong Web. It's a podcast that Erick is doing. You're probably what, 6-7 episodes in?
7 episodes in.
Yeah. And Erick's getting like major CrossFit athletes on this podcast, as well as some other people as well.
So that's a good resource, thestrongweb.com.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Good plug. So parting words of advice for entrepreneurs, people that are, wanting to build a business or are already in one.
Yep. Building business or not even just thinking about it. Go do it. Start it. Get started. Forget about your worries and fears. Do it and be grateful for what you have and say, all right, this is what I have. This is what I can work with. Let's just start it. If you know you've got a little piece of something to start with, go for it. Wow. Don't, stall out and say, well, it's too hard or it's too this or that. You only get one life. So you gotta make the best of it.
That's true. Yeah. Don't tell people your dreams. Show them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's good, man. That's really good. So how can everyone reach you?
You can reach me numerous ways on Twitter at Erick Arbe. If you go to thestrongweb.com, you'll see me there. You can check out hibr.com, hibr.com, golfwebdesign.com. My URL for my personal website, ericar.be. It's not cool. A .com. It's it's just my full name, but .be.
Okay.
And but Twitter is probably the best one. Okay. At Erick Arbe.
And Erick is ERICK.
Yes.
And then Arbe, which is that's a good Greenville name, like straight from the South.
Right.
ARBE. So
yes, there's an accent.
Yeah. Don't put a ARBAY.
Nope.
Don't do that. That's just not going to work. Well, man, thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. This is great. Everybody that's watched, really appreciate you and taking the time to watch the show. It's not only is it a live stream, it's also a podcast. So this is the first official episode. Technically, it's episode 2. It's a really long story. I'm not going to get into it, but all that's going to be out very soon. So as of this second, the podcast isn't officially like up on iTunes, but that'll be up in a couple days. It'll be dropping officially on Monday. So if there's anything in here that you liked, hit that thumbs up if you don't mind, or hit a love, hit the heart, or share it with somebody. If you know someone that's just maybe struggling with a little bit of web or product, promoting themselves, share it with them. Put their name in the comments so they can see this podcast and this show. But man, great chatting with you. Always appreciate your friendship, and we'll see everybody next time. Thanks.